Hey and welcome back. Slight change of venue today because we're in my home voiceover booth talking about one of my very favorite parts of the Soul Reaver 1 and 2 remaster, and that's the inclusion of the Soul Reaver 2 bonus materials, specifically the voiceover sessions and outtakes. After I finished Soul Reaver 2 for the first time in 2001, I dug in and I spent literal hours watching these over and over and over again. And I really feel like these little videos shaped a lot of the course of my career. I developed just this fascination with voiceover and the process and voiceover direction and just the interactions between the actors, the interaction between the engineer and the directors and the actors. I was just absolutely fascinated with it. I went on to be on my college's radio station, did voiceover for my own student projects. Later, when I got into professional video production, I spent a lot of time directing and performing in voiceover sessions. So one of the things that makes these sessions extraordinary is the fact that the actors are together in the same studio. Now, that's not unheard of, especially in higher-end film production, but it was really uncommon at the time, especially for video games. One of the reasons that voiceover is nice from a production standpoint is you only have one person to schedule. And Destiny can tell you that it is really, really difficult to just get one high-tier voice actor booked, let alone multiple, to get them in the same studio at the same time. But when you do, there's a magic, there's an interaction that happens that is really, really hard to get in isolation. Most sessions that I'm on these days are conducted over Zoom. The studio has a Zoom feed that we join in. The talent is either in the studio or at their home studio. And so it's a bit of a challenge to get people in person, but when you do, that interaction, the ability for the actors to play off each other it's the same thing that happens when you get actors on stage or on set and let them play off of each other. So the fact that they went to that extra effort to get all of these actors in the studio together so that they could have this fun, those interactions, is just extraordinary. You can tell that they are just having so much fun. That was something that I, to this day, am still fascinated with. It's just, I love being in the studio and having a good time on either side of the mic. If you have an interest in voiceover, voice recording, or just acting in general, watch these videos. They add so much to the experience. So these outtakes and sessions I've always been fascinated with. And today we're going to watch them, and hopefully you'll be as fascinated with them as I am. All right, so let's show you what I'm gushing about. So boot up Soul Reaver 1 and 2 Remastered, go to bonus content, and go to videos. And we're going to watch outtakes, which it's a little bit of a misnomer because these aren't all outtakes, as you'll see, but they are all fun. So let's check them out.
The making of Soul Reaver.
Soul Reaver.
It's Tony J on the right, Michael Bell on the left.
I feel an obligation to work out since I'm Soul Reaver. So when the time comes I really meet everybody, I'll be able to wear tight black outfits. And they won't feel so terribly disappointed to see that it's the 60-year-old cocker doing this voice. I had to go out and buy a PlayStation. They sent me Soul Reaver.
Right.
So I went out to buy PlayStation.
Right.
And we hooked it up in the house, and then I started it. Because I never played a game like this before. I played a game, period, other than, Knick Knock or that little Pac-Man or something.
Right.
And it's extraordinary. The opening is really extraordinary with the wings and the ripping and the throwing down of the abyss. And
right.
Now I'm getting into the labyrinth. 2 hours later, I still am nowhere. He keeps falling off the rock, and I can't work if we get him on the rock. And my daughter is sitting in the bed. She says, "Dad," I said, "leave me alone. I'm going to do this." She said, "But I can." I said, "Leave me alone." And 2 hours later, I look up and I realize it's 2 hours has gone by, and it felt like I was there for 5 minutes. And I have gone no further. And I wanted to get into the other things. I wanted to see, because I did several other voices, I wanted to get, couldn't do it. And I said, I can't do this. So when I went downstairs, I came back up, and I looked, and she's already well beyond me. And I said, so there's got to be a chip that the kids have in their heads that some of us don't have from another time in our existence.
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
This is a CD-ROM?
This is a video game for the PlayStation 2.
There's a lot of talk for a video game.
It's a story-based game.
Yeah. I'm so used to sort of doing
yelling.
5 lines different. Go through that door! Don't go through that door! Hey, go through that door!
There's more to being a vampire than drinking blood and ripping out throbbing hearts. Trust me, doll.
Okay, so watching these videos, the thing that gets me the most is how much fun everybody seems to be having, right? Especially Michael. Oh my goodness, he just owns that space when he's there, and he's just having the best time. It seems like every single piece of footage I see him in, and he must be just so much fun to work with. So I'm going to talk about everybody through the course of the video, but first we're going to talk about Michael Bell, who's of course the voice of Raziel. Now, if you were born 15 years earlier or about 15 years later than I was, Michael Bell voiced your childhood. He has been in just about everything. If it was animated, chances are he was in it. If it was a video game, if you threw a rock in a GameStop, you'll probably hit a game that Michael Bell was in one way or another. He was in the Transformers movie and original series. He was the voice of Lance in the original Voltron series in the 80s. Many of you, of course, will recognize Michael Bell from Rugrats. His career stretches back all the way to 1956, and he was even in an ADR loop group for the original Star Wars, although he wasn't credited. Michael has been in so many video games and so many TV shows and so many movies that if you were to dedicate some time to look at his IMDb, which I absolutely recommend you do, you might want to put aside a whole afternoon to do it. Just saying. All right, let's watch the next one.
The continuum of history is simply too strong, too resilient.
Good one. It's a lot of chat, isn't it?
I'm going to have to start using that clip.
It's so great. Poor Simon, I go, and? He did what?
Boy,
And he goes into 3 pages.
Sitting down and taking a rest
And
whenever he
it's
starts
so
to talk.
great. That is so funny.
So we're getting some pops on parasite poetic.
Poetic parasite. Wouldn't that be poetic irony? The biggest parasite of them all.
39, 919.
You stay here. I'll go and warn the others.
I'll go and warn the others! Be gone! You are not welcome here!
One thing was just a little easier. 90.
Not the board signs on the other side of the mic there.
Be gone. You are not welcome here.
Rene?
Yeah.
You'll be surprised. Amp up that accent just
A
a
little
little.
bit. I thought it had disappeared a little beyond the pale.
Oh, let me out of the room.
License to kill. I don't know.
Licenses, the scenery and me will go.
I fear you have been followed. You must save yourself, Raziel. Janos, no! Oh, that's your line.
But I like the way you did it.
How did I do it? Was it okay?
It was so good. That's the way I'm going to do it. George
I've done that.
As Janos presented the blade.
How many voices do you do?
Just one. I mesmerize you to think that it's more than one.
It's a hypnosis trick.
Yeah.
I'm under a spell right now.
He's the man of many voice.
The man of one voice and just think it's 1,000. That's all.
Embrace your destiny, Raziel. You must reclaim the Reaver. It alone was forged for you, and you alone. Without it, there is no hope.
Did you count them?
Good. Rene, you gave us an extra alone.
It alone was forged for you, you alone. But I liked it.
It alone was forged for you, and you alone, it was for you alone. I'm dying. Give me a break here.
I've made that mistake before too, where I'll be reading my lines and then accidentally cross over into my scene partner's lines. It happens. Okay, and of course we saw Simon Templeman at the beginning of this clip, and we'll talk about more of his stuff in a little bit. But since we saw so much of Rene Auberjonois here, let's talk about him. Famously, he played Odo in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and you'll see a lot of these folks cross over into Star Trek at one point or another. He also played Paul Lewiston in Boston Legal. And then in the video game world, he played Carl Schaefer in Uncharted 2 and 3, which, I mean, not surprising given that Amy had directed those games. This will come as a surprise to some of you, but he played Mr. House in Fallout New Vegas, which hopefully you're replaying as you watch season 2 of the show. Keep a listen.
Look at this black heart. How still it beats.
Richard Doyle.
Or how it still beats would probably be better, wouldn't it?
That would help. And also look at his black heart rather than this. But otherwise, perfect. 10-11, 3 in a row.
Look at his black heart. How still it beats.
I'm not going to be able to say it. We'll have to change the whole story.
I'm telling you.
Demon! He thinks he can change his destiny. What a fool!
So what kind of demon is this?
Very creepy.
He's playing, but we'll come back to the physicality part of this.
Like that? Big guy like that?
He thinks he can change his destiny. What a fool. Let the next squad take him. Let the next squad take him. To arms! The unholy ones approach! To arms! The unholy ones approach! To arms! The unholy ones approach!
Wow.
The unholy ones approacheth. Let the next squad take him. The scourge is upon us. The stench of death is in the air. Oh, did you fart?
Compelled to touch it. To take it up.
Please.
Oh. Please don't take my line. Please, take my line. Please, take it away from me. Where's my unique resurrection? Give me a unique resurrection. First he takes my wings, and then he takes my unique resurrection. And the man has no pity. Stand your ground! It's quiet tonight. You know you got the bluest eyes. We've been out here a long time without a female vampire hunter.
Let me enlighten you, poor Raziel.
Well, Rene.
What? What?
That's terrific.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
I'll just go home now.
Go home and gargle and clean out those lungs.
Glad we did those at the end.
Okay, a few things to talk about here. First, let me have some water. Very important when you're doing any kind of voice work. Yeah, knowing when to ask your talent to have a drink of water is very, very important. If you're an engineer or director or just sitting in the room. Water, you always have to have on hand for a voice session. Beginning of that clip was Richard Doyle, who of course plays Moebius. Now, he has also had just tons and tons and tons of, small, medium parts in lots of TV shows, additional voices in lots of games, including the Fury in Metal Gear Solid 3 and Big Boss in another game, which if you haven't played yet, I don't want to spoil for you, but he does play him. Another thing to watch as we watch these outtakes is watch the actor's physicality. Physicality is extremely important in voiceover. You may not think it. You may think it's just standing in front of a mic and talking, when it's really not. And you'll see I do a lot of talking with my hands. It's really important to kind of have physical actions that you associate with a voice of a character that you're playing. Also, another thing to notice is watch their distance from their mouth to the mic, because that's another performance factor. And that's kind of a dance too between the engineer and the actor, because, if you get this close to the mic, you can hear every detail of how I'm saying it. But if I get too loud, well, sorry about that. If you're louder, you want to be more backed off from the mic. Mine's like right here. You want to be a bit more backed off from the mic to try to keep your levels at the right place, but also to kind of tell yourself, hey, I'm more of in an outside space, because you don't talk the same way inside as you do outside. So anyway, just things to consider if you ever find yourself in a VO booth. And if I'm on the other side of that glass, watch out. All right, let's watch the next one.
Ah, my wayward child returns.
Having unearthed more than you'd like, I suspect.
Oh,
What
I
am
could
I
see
to
some
make of
scenes.
these ruins that litter the land, and these images here in this chamber?
Merely the deceits of a failed civilization. You are being misled, Raziel. This ancient race hoped to manipulate the future with these scrawled misdirections. You must tread carefully. There are dark forces at work in this world, bent on subverting your true destiny.
I have no doubt of that. The question is, am I in their presence right now?
Your arrogance will spell your demise, Raziel. Deny my will, and the arc of your destiny will reach a sudden conclusion.
Your threats are unmoving. Even now, I'm beyond your reach.
My reach is longer than you realize. This is a very dangerous game you're playing, Raziel.
Imagine being in a room with Tony J speaking to you in that voice. So Tony J, as I've said many times, is a legend in the voice acting and just acting businesses. You hear how much control he has over his inflection, his tone, his pitch. It's amazing. Seriously, I could gush about his vocal qualities all day, but let's talk about how good of an actor he is. Also has just a huge filmography. Block it out on your calendar if you're going to go look at it. Played Megabyte in Reboot, if you ever saw that show. Famously played Frollo in Hunchback of Notre Dame, and even was the narrator for an H.H. Holmes documentary, among other things. Also, a little bit of Tony J trivia. He was an early contender for Obi-Wan Kenobi in the original Star Wars. Let's watch the next one.
Raziel, the failed assassin. You had Kain at your mercy, but lacked the courage to fulfill the act. And now you see the wasteland wrought by the tyrant's hand, by his selfish decision to preserve his own life, even when it meant sacrificing the whole world. This is the fate of Nosgoth, as long as Kain remains alive.
An ironic condemnation, given this guilty scene. One would think you'd torn down the pillars single-handedly. What are you trying to obliterate as you drag your loathsome body through this chamber? And why, as Nosgoth descends into madness and misery, do you appear to thrive? Things in this world, I am learning, are rarely what they seem. You, apparently, are no exception.
I am the engine of life, the source of Nosgoth's very existence. I am the hub of the wheel, the origin of all life, the devourer of death.
Or maybe you're just hungry. Could it be as simple as that?
So much fun to watch Sassy Raz in the flesh.
Poetic irony. The great adversary of the vampires turns out to be the biggest parasite of them all.
Do not test my patience, Raziel. I made you, and I will unmake you if I become so inclined.
As your agent, I am beyond death.
There are fates worse than death, Raziel.
Oh, I see you now as you truly are. A cancer. A spooling parasite burrowed deep in the heart of this world.
Go now. Play out your pitiful rebellion and take your place among the destroyed, the used, and the damned. But know this, you are mine for eternity. You have always been, and will always be, my soul Reaver.
Whew. The intensity of that read. Oh my God, I love it so much. This is one of the reasons that I really love watching these. To see the performance, just the power in it. So awesome. So let's talk really quick, because we already talked about Michael and Tony. Let's talk about who's filming this. Most likely, this is Chris Zimmerman, the casting director, who again also worked on Metal Gear Solid and many other games since. She's another person who I greatly admire, and so that's most likely her filming these. I've got to say her technique is pretty good. Okay, let's watch the next one. Oh, here we go.
At last. I must say I'm disappointed in your progress. I imagined you'd be here sooner. Tell me, Did it trouble you to murder your brothers?
Did it trouble you when you ordered me into the abyss?
Eternity is relentless.
So the original model for Kain was actually modeled on Simon's
sailed
face,
into this
which you can
chamber
see.
Centuries ago, I did not fathom the true power of knowledge. To know the future, Raziel, to see its paths and streams tracing out into the infinite. As a man, I could never have contained such forbidden truths. But each of us is so much more than we once were. Do you not feel with all your soul how we have become like gods? And as such, are we not indivisible? As long as a single one of us stands, we are legion. Our futures are predestined. Moebius foretold mine eons ago. We each play out the parts fate has written for us. Free will is an illusion.
I found the tomb of Sarafan Kain. How could you profane a priest by turning him into a vampire?
How could I not? One must keep his friends close, Raziel, and his enemies even closer.
It's interesting. Neither of them are wearing headphones for...
Who better to serve me than those whose passion transcends all notions of good and evil?
The Sarafan were saviors, defending Nosgoth from the corruption that we represent. My eyes are opened, Kain. I find no nobility in the unlife you rudely forced on my unwilling corpse.
You may have uncovered your past, but you know nothing of it.
You think the Sarafan were noble, altruistic? Oh, don't be simple.
Love that.
Their agenda was the same as ours. You nearly had me, Raziel. But this is not where or how it ends. Fate promises more twists before this drama unfolds completely.
Oh, okay. Even though this is their second crack at it, where I kind of, I've mentioned before that I prefer the voice acting from the original. There are moments here that I do think are a massive improvement. On the ending of Soul Reaver 1, this is, of course, the beginning of Soul Reaver 2. You can feel the energy in that room, and that is my favorite part of watching these. So let's talk about Simon. Of course, we all know Simon as Kain, but Simon has also played lots of other leading roles in video games, and we hear his voice all the time. Dragon Age, Loghain MacTier, Mass Effect 2, Admiral Han Garel, and even Rael Zora, Tali's father. He was also Gabriel Roman in the first Uncharted, and he's done lots of voices for WoW and Fallout. Jacob Danik, the Unitologist leader in Dead Space 2 and 3. And he's done lots of TV, too. He was in one of the recent animated Netflix Witcher movies, and he was in a TV show called The Neighbors. And he was also in an episode of Star Trek Next Generation, which, it's kind of cool. It makes sense because he's married to Rosalind Chow, who played Keiko O'Brien. Another thing that's important to note is all of these actors knew each other. All of these actors knew Gordon Hunt, too. Gordon Hunt was a very prolific recording director and also an acting coach in LA. And there's even a documentary about him. All right, let's watch the next one.
Janos Audron. It is heartening after all these years to hear my name spoken without contempt.
Raziel, my child, what have they done to you? I have been dragged through hell and back. All it seems to reach this moment. But I don't yet know why. For thousands of years, I have waited, alone, here.
Again, watch their distance to the mic.
At the time of the binding, 9 guardians were called to serve the pillars, and I was summoned as the 10th guardian, the keeper of the Reaver, the weapon of our salvation. Over time, our race died out, until I alone remained.
sustained only by my obligation to you and by my guardianship of the blade.
Oh,
And
he's
the
doing
other
with his
nine?
hand there. That's that physicality
Why
that we
did
were
their
talking about.
guardianship not sustain them?
I don't know. As our race dwindled, the humans prospered. I have watched over the centuries as our history faded into myth and finally receded altogether. The humans have forgotten us entirely and claimed the pillars for themselves, wholly ignorant of their true purpose. To them, I am merely a devil, the origin of their vampire plague.
Why would the pillars summon human guardians then, if they are meant to be served by vampires?
The pillars choose their guardians from birth, Raziel, and vampires are no longer born. This is the crux of our dilemma, and this is the terrible irony. With their vampire purge, the members of the Circle have assaulted the very architects of the pillars they are sworn to protect. They have embarked on a treacherous path. With every vampire they kill, the humans are slitting their own throats. They know I'm up here, beyond their reach, and it terrifies them. You can see how they flaunt their kills to torment me, or perhaps simply to lure me out. They have this foolish notion that destroying me will somehow topple our entire bloodline. Thankfully, we're not that fragile.
I have seen them mustering their forces in the village below.
Yes. I don't know what they're plotting, but I fear our time may be bitterly short.
Mankind seems to have brought you only torment and grief. You must hate them.
They fear what they don't understand, and they despise what they fear. But no, I do not hate them.
Vorador does.
He has suffered much. He cannot forgive them.
Should they be forgiven?
They don't understand what they're doing. They are simply unenlightened and vulnerable to manipulation.
I just get sucked so far in, you know.
It's all true then. What Kain and Vorador have told me. I really am some kind of unholy vampire messiah.
Unholy? No. Messiah? Perhaps.
I don't like that word. It smells of martyrdom.
Raziel, your role in this world's destiny is more crucial and more benevolent than you've allowed yourself to believe. Your journey will not be easy. Dark powers are allied against you. But I think you already know this. You appear to have been cruelly tested. The binding must be secured, Raziel. The pillars are the lock.
And the Reaver is the key.
Yes.
The Reaver is here. Why do I feel nothing?
The most formidable weapon ever forged by our swordsmiths. They infused the blade with vampiric energy, empowering the Reaver to drain our enemies of their precious lifeblood.
As Janos presented the blade, an inexplicable sense of dread crept over me, more palpable than anything I'd felt before. I was at once horribly repelled by the sword, and yet irresistibly compelled to touch it, to take it up. Please, take it away from me.
I fear you have been followed.
You must save yourself, Raziel.
Janos! No!
Okay, so this is already one of my favorite scenes in Soul Reaver 2, which makes it a strong contender for one of my favorite scenes in the entire series. This is the thing I keep talking about, is to watch that synergy between the actors happen. It's just really, really cool, especially when you've got actors of this caliber. Michael Bell and Rene Auberjonois in the same room playing these characters who've just been written so well. This is one of the reasons that I'm a Legacy of Kain fan. All right, let's watch the next one.
So after all this, you make my case for me. To end this stalemate, you must die so that new guardians can be born.
The pillars don't belong to them, Raziel. They belong to us.
Your arrogance is boundless, Kain.
There's a third option. Monumental secret, hidden in your very presence here. But it's a secret you have to discover for yourself. Unearth your destiny, Raziel. It's all laid out for you here.
You said it yourself, Kain. There are only two sides to your coin.
Apparently, sir. But suppose you throw a coin enough times. Suppose one day it lands on its edge.
Another one of my favorite scenes.
Your fatalism is tiresome, Kain.
And profoundly ingrained, Raziel. You must understand our presence here doesn't alter history. You and I meet here because we are compelled to. We have always met here. History is irredeemable. Drop a stone into a rushing river, the current simply courses around it and flows on as if the obstruction were never there. You and I are pebbles, Raziel, and have even less hope of disrupting the time stream. The continuum of history is simply too strong, too resilient.
There's that physicality again.
Then how do we explain William here? The beloved boy king turned tyrant. In my youth, I witnessed William's rise to power and his transformation into the nemesis who laid waste to Nosgoth. Years later, I stumbled upon a chance to journey back in history, unaware that the entire affair has been carefully orchestrated by Moebius. In my wisdom, I seize this opportunity to murder the young king before he can ravage Nosgoth, and thereby provide the catalyst Moebius needs to ignite a genocidal war against our race. This one reckless act unravels the skein of history. The nemesis never becomes the nemesis. William dies a martyred saint. I, the vampire assassin, become the author of my own species' extinction, and Moebius profits from all of it. I destroyed a tyrant only to create one far worse. But how can it be so? How? If history is immutable. The answer is here in this room, Raziel. Moebius propelled William and me together, but ensured first that we were both armed with the soul Reaver. The Reaver is the key. Two incarnations of the blade meet in time and space. A paradox is created, a temporal distortion powerful enough to derail history. If you truly believe in free will, Raziel, now is the time to prove it. Kill me now, and we both become pawns of history, dragged down the path of an artificial destiny. I was ordained to assume the role of balance guardian in Nosgoth, while you were destined to be its savior. But the map of my fate was redrawn by Moebius, and so in turn was yours.
Again, the physicality, understanding the assignment. He's just he has such a presence to him. So earlier I talked about fold back, and what do I mean by fold back? So in a lot of voiceover sessions, you'll see actors wearing headphones, and that is so that A, they can receive direction from the booth, and B, so that they can hear their own voice. For me, it is, I can go either way when I use headphones. A lot of times I like to hear where I am in relation to the mic, just so that I can kind of monitor what I'm doing. But if you're working with real pros in the booth, like they are here, they got that. You don't need it. You can just focus on the acting. And so you hear they have a little speaker in there for the director to talk to them. So, you know, a lot of times, especially in higher end studios, you may not see them. It's really a personal preference. It's a director, and it's a decision made by the engineer, the director, and the talent. Nowadays, when we most of us use home studios and are connecting over Source Connect or Zoom, most everybody is going to wear headphones. I always wear headphones if I'm doing a remote session. And that goes for whether I am directing or whether I'm acting. So, okay, let's watch the next one.
Oh no. Every time you turn up, something monumental and terrible happens. I don't think I have the stomach for it.
Still the best joke.
No drama this time, Raziel.
You are persistent, crossing time like this to follow me. Still waiting for that coin of yours to land on its edge.
I'm biding my time. I see that Moebius has played a little trick on you.
Yes. He clearly doesn't want me to meet this Janos Audron.
Perhaps. Or maybe he merely hoped that it would harden your heart against me, to see this wasteland which I single-handedly authored.
My heart doesn't need hardening, Kain. If I even suspected that destroying you would make any difference, I would do it this instant.
I knew you'd see through them, Raziel. Janos is indeed the key to your destiny, but you'll need to find your own way back into Nosgoth's past. Make no mistake, though, Raziel. You and I are now in great danger. We are irritants here. Malevolent forces are being marshaled to eliminate us.
You talk as though we're allies.
Regardless of your sentiments, Raziel, in their eyes, we are.
Well, they're certainly trying to eliminate you, Kain. There can be no doubt of that. I am assaulted relentlessly with demands for your demise. Whatever it is that you're plotting, they're scared to death.
Just delivers these so perfectly.
As for me, I suspect they made a grave error when they allowed my unique resurrection. I don't think they know how to destroy me.
You mustn't underestimate them, Raziel.
And who exactly is this diabolic they to which we keep referring? If there's some grand conspiracy going on, the right hand doesn't appear to know what the left is doing. Even Moebius seems to be caught out at every turn.
Moebius is a puppet, Raziel. Haven't you realized that yet? That's the sweetest irony in all of this. Nosgoth's great manipulator is their plaything. But the ones pulling the strings haven't shown their faces yet.
They don't like us unwriting their carefully choreographed history, though, do they?
You must understand, Raziel, we haven't unwritten history, we've merely rewritten it. The future flows around our petty actions, finding the path of least resistance, while admitting only the slightest alterations. This is the reshuffling you felt when you refused to kill me. And remember, Raziel, we are irritants in this regard as well. History will not allow the introduction of a paradox.
And if events cannot be reshuffled to accommodate the change?
It is the irritant who's expelled. Bear in mind that this may be exactly the outcome our enemies are trying to provoke. We must tread very carefully.
And again, whoever's filming has a really good sense of drama for this stuff. I've talked about this particular scene as we were playing through, and this is like another one of my favorite scenes. And it's really interesting because this is the first time that Raziel and Kain meet as something other than enemies. It's the first time that Raziel encounters Kain and doesn't want to kill him on sight. And so I love the nuance to both of their performances here, not just in their voice, but in their physical acting as well. It's just so much fun to watch. I hope that you guys like this as much as I do, because I'm obsessed with it. All right, last one. For Soul Reaver 2, anyway.
And who has slandered me so? Your malefactor Kain? The one who betrayed and destroyed you, our common enemy? Consider the source before you judge me too harshly.
I can totally see him finding that character with that gesture.
We'll forget about rekindling our old friendship then. But consider an alliance based on our common ground. We both want Kain dead. I can help you do it. You may never again be human, Raziel. But you can re-embrace the essence of your humanity and the nobility of your Sarafan heritage. Go to him, Raziel, and end this. But first, you will need to find your way out of the stronghold, and in this, I'm afraid I cannot help you. My soldiers will not understand your appearance here. They will try to kill you. You needn't fear them, of course. They're no match for you. Try to keep the casualties to a minimum, but do what you have to do.
Moebius.
By my soul, you almost had me, my little blue assassin. But that'll be the one and only chance you get. I assure you of that.
So, Raziel, here we are, finally. You have no choice but to confront me now, and I am not so foolish as I've let you believe. We have business to conclude.
You knew I would lead the Sarafan to Janos, you vile bastard. You've been orchestrating my every move. My destiny is an amusement to you.
It was fun while it lasted. I think not, Raziel. Malek, do not let this creature leave. He poses a danger to the Circle. Poor, deluded Raziel. Did you somehow imagine you had the guile to change history on me? I'm the time streamer. I knew your every intention before you did, you imbecile.
Ooh, man, he's so intense. I love it. This is a good example of kind of how traditional voiceover works, where, you get one actor, you get them in the booth, they read their lines, they act, and they play off of another actor who isn't there, or somebody reading from the inside. And that's how most of it happens. And the reason for that is it's just way easier to schedule a single actor than it is to get multiple actors, 2 or especially 3. Just ask Destiny how hard that is. Having another actor to play off of, it's not critical, but it is a very nice to have, and you can get just amazing results when you can do it. But an actor who knows what they're doing, they can act, you can put them in the situation and they'll do what you need them to do. Not having another actor in the booth with him is not impeding Richard's performance at all here. Just fantastic. And then the way that he finds that character, it's so much fun to watch. So other things that we could talk about. You'll see this in a lot of studios. You'll see the nice isolated room. You'll see the nice soft surfaces. You see the textured walls. All of those are not necessarily to absorb all the sound and make it totally dead inside, but to control reflections so that you don't hear echoes. If you listen really, really hard to just my mic, you'll hear a little bit of what we call room slap. And that is a little bit of echo where you're hearing my voice reflect off the hard surfaces in my room. Now, in the VO booth, you didn't hear that because I have that room sound treated so that the reflections are under control and it sounds very, very neutral or very, very dead. My wife hates going in that room. But here it's a much more it has more of what we call room character, which includes some slap, some reflections. It's a little bit big. There's some foam. The couch is nice and soft. But it is there. You can hear it. I wouldn't say it's a studio voiceover recording setup like my other room is. So one last thing to talk about. We don't see Anna Gunn in any of these videos, which is really sad because she's really, really great, and I'd love to kind of see what her sessions looked like. And that could be a number of things. It could be contractual. Although that's not really common to disallow behind the scenes footage from this. It could just be personal preference. She might be self-conscious while she works, or she might have just had a really good agent at the time. And there's a number of reasons that it could be. And while I'm sad that we miss her, we do get the benefit of her performance in the games, and she's amazing there. So I would have loved to be in on these sessions. I would have loved to be in there filming. I would have loved to be recording. I would have loved to be a fly on the wall anywhere. So as a bonus, I want to show you this one clip from Defiance. If you haven't gotten there yet, I'd probably skip to the end of the video just in case you're avoiding spoilers for Defiance. But this is a great scene between Simon Templeman and Tony J, and it is just so much fun to watch. They're having a blast.
I've only begun to seek you out.
Seek you out.
Go hide and be afraid.
I will
For I shall root you up from this world before I'm finished, and your so-called wheel of destiny will shatter upon my sword.
And Michael here just...
You may know that I am pleased with you.
Yes, I can see the rise in your toga.
Yes. Rising my toga.
I love how he drops the joke, and Tony just tries to roll with it for a second and then just can't, and then absolutely loses it. But yeah, I hope I get to do this with actors of this caliber someday. And let me know too if you're obsessed with voiceover like I am. Back to the booth, let's wrap it up. Thanks as always for geeking out with me about stuff that I just get really, really into. Thanks for watching, and if you like what you see and you want to see more, do the things.
Wow.